Hello and welcome back to Gooner Fanzine TV in what has been an incredibly eventful week. Emery at 10:10 on Friday was sacked, with Freddie installed as interim manager. Lads, we've finally been saying it and it's finally happened. Emery's finally gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
What were your initial reactions?
He had to go, didn't he? It was just, we were at the Frankfurt game and he had to go, and it was just almost the length of time that it took to get rid of him. It just prolonged the agony, basically. And we obviously, he was a really, really dignified man, a real gentleman. No one ever wants to give him any personal abuse, but it was the right decision. It just took longer than it should have took, basically. And I think everyone was relieved for lots of reasons that he's actually gone. And it was a very positive move, like you say, and it has been an eventful week. So that's my take on it.
So, Glen, has your grump receded now that?
Well, can I just point out, you mentioned the Frankfurt game. I was the only one who said we'd lose that night, and we did.
Does that make you happy?
Missed it, Glen's back.
But no, I think it was. I think the ball dithered a bit. It should have gone some time ago. Mm-hmm. It's just a relief for everyone, isn't it? It's sad. Probably a good bloke, but it wasn't working. And I'm afraid he's just sort of going to be resigned as a footnote in Arsenal history, really.
It is. Well, we'll always have the scarf to remember him by.
Yeah.
No, we won't.
Dan, you're the Mr. Outspoken person on the panel list. How do you feel?
Probably, yeah.
How do you feel about Emery going, Freddie being instilled, and Arsenal being sort of looking like it's moving on the right track forward?
Well, I completely agree that it should have happened sooner than it did. To be honest, I didn't think he'd go after Thursday. I thought they'd give him the Norwich game, but at least they took action when they did. As for Freddie, I think we'll obviously come on to Norwich, but there were signs of improvement for me, and I think
huge amount.
Yeah, I think obviously the next few games are a big audition for him. But from what I saw yesterday, I think he's got everything.
Well, because I think we knew it was going to happen when we heard the news that Ralstonelli and Paul Vihai had been sent over to America to have a meeting with Stan Kroenke. I think the fact it's called an extraordinary meeting after that game on the Thursday, shows there must have been a huge amount of pent-up issue. It seems as though the fans voting with their feet really did help swing the decision, didn't it?
Well, you mentioned that trip to the USA. The interesting thing was that they actually decided to sack him before the Frankfurt game, and they waited until afterwards. That's basically what came out of the meeting. When it was a pre-planned trip. It had been in the diary for a while, basically, but the decision was actually made before the Frankfurt game. Obviously, do you reckon the result on Thursday, sealed his fate, basically? Do
you reckon that's why Emery was just so looking even more dejected than usual?
Well, he didn't know, because he came in on the Friday morning to take training as usual. He was called in for a meeting straight away. Told what the decision was, and his coaching staff were taken in individually. Then they went out to the training pitch. Players were told to all said their individual goodbyes, which is basically how the day went. And then Freddie took the training.
Do we know how Emery himself actually took the news?
It was from what I've read and understand. It was taken respectfully and as it should have been, which I expected from him. He's not someone who's going to kick up a fuss. He's never struck me as that kind of person.
He did leave quite a classy message to the fans and the players afterwards. Yeah. So I think he is a classy man. And it's a shame it didn't work out, but I think it's the right decision. And moving forwards, Norwich, we were there on Sunday on the afternoon. Freddie was there. There seems to be a bit more of a buzz about the fans. There seems to be a bit more actual general excitement for an Arsenal game, which we've actually had for quite a while. Just the sort of daunting feeling of going to the Emirates again.
I know.
We're going to play poorly here today, aren't we? But
honestly,
that was pre-match. We'll move on to the next minute, but.
Yeah,
the excitement on Sunday was palpable.
It really was. You're absolutely right. Well, me and Serge sat together. Dan was obviously in the press box. Jake Cole was there as well, and the excitement was palpable there. It was good that we'd moved on from the Emery era, basically, and there was an Arsenal legend in charge of the game, basically in charge of the first team. We're going to. I suppose we're going to go into it eventually, but at the same time, it's like there was a lot of negativity on social media afterwards. I don't want to sort of take a step over the game, but at the same time, people were moaning about the performance, and there was constructive criticism out there. There was a lot of intelligent criticism. There was a lot of over-the-top criticism in social media, which we all know what Twitter's like, and some of it you take, some of it you leave, basically. But Lee Dixon, who writes a column for Gooner Fanzine, he's obviously been on there, and we've interviewed him, a real friend of the show and a friend of the fanzine as well. He basically tweeted us. He tweeted me as he just said it wasn't good enough, really. And I tweeted back to Lee, completely respect Lee, love him a bit, top bloke, real Arsenal legend, obviously, but like I say, really nice bloke as well, who just cares passionately for the club. And I was like, yeah, you're right, Lee. In terms of everyone's got an opinion, I completely respect yours. But what I thought was good on Sunday against Norwich was the attacking intent. Didn't always come off, but at the same time, Freddie Ljungberg wanted to win the game, and he had he packed the team with a lot of attacking players, certainly towards the end.
Oh, definitely.
He found a place for Ozil. There was various other positives as well, just in terms of academy lads playing for him. Saka didn't play the best, but he was still, featuring in Freddie's side, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, it shows a lot of sort of positive intent, because beforehand, Emery's substitutions used to be 85 minutes. Like let's bring on let's bring on a defensive midfielder when we need to chase the game. Yeah. Freddie seems to be showing a little bit more enthusiasm for us to show the good old attacking Arsenal.
Absolutely.
Well, obviously, I completely agree with you. The attacking intent was really good. Had more shots than Norwich, had more possession, which we've not been able to say in recent weeks and games. I think a lot of people were taking issues with the defending, but hasn't that been a problem for 10 years? What do you expect Freddie Ljungberg to do in 24 hours?
I know.
I mean, in his presser, he's obviously, under an Emery, a lot of the answers were just didn't make sense or didn't seem to know what he wanted, basically. But when Freddie was asked about defending, he said, we were good in possession when we had the ball, we dominated the game, but then when we lost it was the problem on the transition, and I'm going to work on that. That's good for me. That's what I want to hear. Yeah. I want to see a manager who identifies the problem straight away and says that he's going to work on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we did a piece straight after the final whistle at Carrow Road. Basically, Dan's covered the press box, gave us an insight into what Freddie was like firsthand at the press conference, which is quite a unique insight, and we're lucky to have that at Gooner Fanzine TV. So give that a watch as well. But I think Dan's absolutely right, and you're right as well, Sergio, just in terms of the atmosphere completely changed, isn't it?
We obviously got Dan's view from the press box, but Glen, what was the view from the local pub? How were the fans
slightly
back
blurry,
home?
I imagine.
How were the local fans sort of looking up
later?
How were the local fans looking forward to the game? Was there a sense of excitement, or was there a sense of resignation?
We started off sort of like the whispers going around the pub as well. We started quite well here. We're attacking a bit more.
Why was everyone whispering?
Well, speaking metaphorically.
I'm joking, sorry.
Well, just trying to replicate the Emirates.
Good line,
in fact, there were more people in there yesterday in the pub than there was in the
Emirates. Which pub was it? Just out of interest.
It was the famous Royal Oak in Muswell Hill.
Okay.
Very good pub indeed. I think if you want to go see Glen there, more than welcome to. He signs autographs.
He's in there most days.
He write.
He signs autographs. He writes the capitals.
Right, it does actually. It's very, very disturbing.
But and then there was a slight sense, we were on top and then conceded that goal on the break. And it was a case of here we go again.
Well, that's one of the questions, the lineup, and because obviously one of the problems we had with Emery was the multitude of formations we used that were always different every week, with players playing in position, out of position, left and right, with no real sort of definitive idea of what the Arsenal team is. Freddie seems to have chosen a very interesting lineup that no one really expected. No one expected him to choose Xhaka to start. No one expected him to let Mustafi out of the Europa League prison. No one expected him to be so attacking in his substitutions. I mean, how did you, when you saw the lineup come out, how did you first react? Were you quite shocked? Were you surprised? Were you quite sort of just like resigned and like, let's just see how this works? Yeah,
really good question, Serge. I've got to say, I was actually driving us into an NCP car park about 5 minutes before kick-off, basically. That's a completely different story. No, I was actually really, really enthused by the fact that he found space for Ozil. It looked like quite an attacking lineup. Played 4 at the back as well. Whether you agree with Mustafi being centre half and Chambers being inside as well, I don't know. But at the same time, everyone's got a clean sheet, a clean slate, and it's up to them to produce for Ljungberg.
At Arsenal, we never get clean sheets.
What's that? Those horns were honking when there's a clean sheet.
I'm strange to that, so I don't agree that Arsenal keep his clean sheet.
I mean, Dan, you were in the press box. You've got the team sheet well before all of us. How did they? What was the sort of the bubble in the press box?
I think the one thing that surprised everyone was when you looked at the team sheet, and I thought it was going to be a diamond midfield, so with Xhaka at the base, Guendouzi and Willock further forward, then Ozil was kind of the attacking midfielder, but it ended up being a 4-2-3-1, which was a bit...
I'm surprised to see Socrates out there.
Huh?
I'm surprised to see Socrates out there. Not Socrates, Kolasinac, sorry.
I was going to say, that's what you drink.
Sorry, No, Kolasinac.
He was the wrong built defender.
We said this yesterday.
I was getting actually confused.
We said this yesterday. He just cannot cross the same as line.
No.
I mean, you can't dig him out for his effort because he always does give 100%. He just can't cross.
So if he's looking at sort of like setting up to be more attacking,
Tierney's got to be in there.
Surely.
100%. Him and
Tierney's injured. Why is he on the bench?
Yes, it's true. I mean, it's nice to see Tierney once again wearing a short sleeve shirt whilst on the bench.
I'll wait till it snows. He's just short sleeve
flip flops.
He's on flip
flop shorts.
Love it.
But this is coming from someone who's got a man flu.
But obviously, one of the most important players that's always discussed about is Ozil. Ozil was in the starting lineup. Glenn, you're obviously Ozil's #1 fan with a small shrine to him. What did you think of his performance?
I thought he did all right. You know, he'll always find there'll be a few moments in the game where there'll always sort of like be something to highlight that he's done well.
He seemed a lot more nippy this time, didn't he?
He was nipping about, made a few tackles back. To be honest, I thought he started to sort of like drift out left too much.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a thing,
almost Wenger era Ozil playing on the left.
Exactly, it was the wrong position for him, really.
But I mean, he had that half chance at the end, didn't he? We just sort of got stuck under him. Yeah. So he just tried to dig it out. But
Tell you what, I know you absolutely love him. We had proper conversations about this over the course of the season, but I was impressed by his work rate yesterday.
Good,
I thought he looked really, really interested and involved.
He was muscling people off the ball as well. Muscling people off the ball.
There was a point when someone lost the ball and he sprinted 30, 40, 50 yards back to get it. I don't think I've ever seen him do it.
That's more than what the Norwich fans did.
And I think he had a couple of free kicks given against him as well. Getting in a bit too strong.
I mean, I was really impressed by the fact that it's been 24 hours after Emery and Ozil's already looked like he's got a more positive outlook on his game.
Speaking of which, I said on this podcast, he would outlast Emery.
You did.
You were right.
Yeah, and you said after the Bournemouth game, asked to be facing relegation, let's take back their ideas up, basically. You're right about that almost. Well, let's hope not. But,
so, to follow all of Glenn's ideas, go to the bookies and follow Mr. Glenn's betting line.
Because you won't find him on social media anyway.
Can I just say on Ozil, I think yesterday, if you compare his performance to the statistics, it kind of shows why he gets criticism. Because statistically, he created 4 chances. I can't for the life of me think of the 4 chances he created, but that's just his style, isn't it? He just drifts around, pops up, creates a chance, but you don't really notice it. I think that's probably a lot of the reason why he gets criticism. He just goes under the radar.
The accusation always levelled against him, particularly under Emery, was that he couldn't perform away from home. I think you have to start looking at Lacazette's performances away from home.
This is true.
I don't want to get back on the negative. I thought he had a bad game yesterday.
But once again, is that down to his own sort of lack of confidence, or is there a problem in the midfield setup where the ball isn't being provided forward enough?
No, it's a lack of confidence. There was that chance, I think, in the 4th minute where...
I think me and Layth were still running up the stairs.
Willock's shot deflected to him. He's about 6 yards out. It looked like an easy finish. He just scuffed it, just tripped over. Didn't connect with it, right?
Sorts to me.
He does.
He looks like his
Do you think he needs to be rested a bit and just have a bit of confidence back and spend time with Freddie? Do you reckon that will help?
I think it was quite instructive that he put Martinelli on late on because there's no sacred cows. Why not start Martinelli next game if Lacazette's not showing it?
I mean, he's one of the players that we've all been very enthused about. I mean, when he was originally signed, he was supposed to be an under-23s player.
He's not had a bad performance so far from me. He's had a couple of average ones, and then the rest of the time he's been superb.
He nearly made something out of nothing when I think he tackled back and turned right on the touchline. And like went forward. Did he get a cross in? I can't remember. But if we'd have got him on earlier, I think we might have nicked that.
I mean, he seems to have that sort of that fire in his belly that he just wants to really perform and show that he's worth starting every week. But a player that does start every week has done the most number of minutes for Arsenal this season was Aubameyang. What did you think of his performance? Obviously missing the first penalty and then getting the re-rack and getting that one's in the net. Did you think he had a good performance? Because I personally thought, obviously 2 goals was really good, but I thought his performance looked a little bit sluggish at points. Yeah,
I think you're right. Sorry, I'm just, me and Serge sat together and we were sort of looking at Aubameyang in quite good, quite sort of detail, basically, just to look at him, basically. And then there was a point in the first half when he got outpaced by the centre half, and I know the centre half had a lot of pace on him, but it was just like,
well, you've changed your tune from yesterday.
No, not at all. He got outpaced. I was saying that.
You thought he might have been carrying a knock.
Yeah, I mean,
you went, centre backs not that quick. No, all centre backs quite fast.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying he got outpaced by the centre half. Whatever the reasons behind that was, I'd love to know. Hopefully, he did have a knock in terms of that would be an explanation. Not hopefully he's got a knock, basically. But if he's getting outpaced, then what does that say about his either his commitment to get the ball or the fact he's got to 30 and maybe his legs going a little bit. I don't know about that. I don't know
the number of minutes he's been playing. He's played pretty much every game so far.
But to go back to your original point, he got 2 goals. So you look at it, if you're not an Arsenal fan or you didn't go to the game or whatever, you'd be like, bang, 2 goals. I don't think he was that effective, to be fair.
No.
And he got away with VAR giving him a second penalty. Although admittedly it was a really, really good penalty, and no Arsenal fan likes Tim Krul, basically. So it was nice for.
Rubbish.
That's what I mean. The first penalty was terrible, but then he got out of jail. And he showed character to take the second penalty, and he slotted it away, and then basically just told Tim Krul to shut up. which I loved.
Yeah, that was good.
So
For
me, that was really, really enjoyable.
Tim Krul's got into my annoying 11 team.
He was in there since 2012.
Apparently got Harry the Hornets in it.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say Tim Krul, he could be wearing that costume.
It's not Tim Krul in Harry the Hornets costume.
I know, but all that behind in front of the goal next to
He got booked, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, was that sort of running with Van Persie about 2012 or 2011 or whatever?
I think we'll all have a run-in with Van Persie, wouldn't we?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Serge made a really good point when we were watching the game. He just goes, Tim Krul has just always been mediocre.
Yeah.
He's never threatened to be a really good keeper.
What's his problem with us, though? I
just don't like him.
It's probably that time we put 7 past him at the Emirates.
That was a bonkers game there.
But continuing with Aubameyang, one thing I did notice, which is a real positive change under Freddie compared to Emery, was when it came to a corner, he wasn't on the back post. He was actually on the edge of the box, ready to change.
Yeah.
And that was so nice because we saw against Frankfurt when he was on the back post. It was like, well, what are you doing there, mate?
Yeah, exactly.
You're supposed to be on the lead of our attack. You should be on the edge of the box. As soon as we get the ball turnover, sprinting 50 yards forward.
Yeah.
Just shows you how
I do have to say, I don't know what kind of angle you saw it from, but that second goal, I was right behind it when he took the shot. I don't think he's given him enough credit for that finish.
It's a good finish.
Oh, it's brilliant.
It drops to him. He's 5 yards away from when it first drops to him, and he's got like 2 or 3 players running at him, and he's got just that small bit of net to aim for. He's just perfect.
So, I mean, he's a fantastic striker that is pinpoint accurate, and I think is now under Freddie. He's probably going to learn a bit more about how to sort of enhance his game in certain effects, and also probably learn a bit more about how to be a better captain.
Well, I think the important thing was there was more supply for him. I've been saying it for weeks. You can't expect him to do anything if he's not getting the ball in the box.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the penalty wasn't really anything to do with him in terms of winning it, but that second one, to get the ball in the box in a good area, and he had other chances in the area as well.
Yeah.
You just got to get the ball in the box is basically what needs to happen more, and they did that on Sunday, which is a positive sign for me.
Absolutely. And just talk about
the penalty. Why was the Norwich player making such a song and dance about it? They say his hand went in an unnatural position.
Zimmerman, yeah.
It's because
exactly. I've changed the rules.
I've watched it back, and he was basically taking issue with. He thought David Luiz had pushed him to move to kind of.
I thought Luiz was quite clever actually because you can't actually see him, but he does sort of muscle somewhere. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it was a penalty, wasn't it? There's no argument, and it should have been retaken in the rules of the game. And obviously there was the issue with the ball afterwards of the second goal.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Basically, Daniel Farke was saying in the press conference, wasn't he?
Yeah, he said, the goal shouldn't have stood. Well, your fans are throwing it on the pitch. It's not fair to punish.
We was getting irate.
It
was going on.
I knew it was going to happen. As soon as they were bouncing it around, it's gone for a corner. I was like, they're going to throw this back on. They're 100% going to do it.
It's so tedious.
And it wasn't even a good throw. They threw it into an area where no one was standing. Lob it in the middle of the 6-yard box.
Not a lot goes on in Norwich for them to do that. It's just like, they thought it was hilarious. We knew it was coming. It was like,
sorry for any Arsenal-based Norwich fans.
Yeah. Sorry for the Arsenal Norfolk Supporters Club. I do actually know them. They're really good guys.
But I've got to say, one of the players that impressed us most on the pitch was Leno. He had an absolute storm of a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think you can deny that was a wonderful performance.
Yeah.
He made some excellent saves that, Layth was saying about really strong wrists, which is something he's well versed on.
Sorry, if I got done for the socks in the comment video last week, you're getting done for strong wrists.
I'm trying to make a really intelligent point. Not an intelligent point. I'm trying to make a point. I'm just saying intelligent. But then I was getting absolutely coated. I was just saying he's got strong hands. As a former keeper myself, it's all right having the athleticism to get in that position. It's always having the footwork. It's always having the confidence to get to sort of fist away high balls or whatever like that. But honestly, am I talking to double entendres?
The flying potatoes and his goalkeeping techniques.
Speech, but to get in that position is one thing, but to have the strong wrist structure to push the ball behind the post, that's something else in itself. Next time you watch a long shot, watch how many keepers let the ball go through their wrists because their wrists aren't strong enough to push the ball.
Well, that save from McLean, I watched it back this morning.
The one-on-one or the actual...
The one-on-one, yeah. It's better watching it back because if you watch it, he doesn't actually come that far off his line.
Yeah, there's a real psychology
to close the angle down. So McLean's got more of the goal to aim for, and it was going in the corner.
Yeah.
I don't know how he saved it. I really don't.
He's very agile, but he's also, like I say, mentally strong because it takes courage to stand up to an on-rushing centre forward, bearing down on you one-on-one. It's so easy to go to ground or try and close the angle. If you just stand there sometimes nothing is the hardest thing to do, basically.
The deflected one was even better. He's literally he's halfway down, going the other way where it was going. I don't know how he sprung back up and saved it. It was a world class performance. Daniel Farke said that as well, and the one thing I did agree with him on was that.
But remember that double save in the North London derby last year? That was one of the best double saves I've ever seen, basically. Let alone on stage at Wembley.
But obviously, one of the issues.
Practice this year, isn't it?
Well, this is it. One of the issues is.
Lino was great yesterday.
But he's been great all season.
But that's the problem. Because he's great because we've got a defence that seems to be very, very leaky at the moment and very
What do you mean seems to be? It is.
There's no
seems to be.
So we started off with Chambers in a fullback position with a centre-back partnership of Mustafi and David Luiz and Kolasinac on the other wing. Is that really an effective defensive lineup?
No. Good question because
what should be?
Emery's left, and I think it's the right thing to do. Ironically, the only thing I think Emery got right this season, or one of the few
was it the Frankfurt game?
Well, exactly. The Frankfurt game for Luiz. He put Luiz as defensive midfielder, or put him as a midfielder in a defensive position. I think that's Luiz's best position, basically.
Yeah, he seemed more comfortable that game, didn't he?
He seemed far more comfortable, because his technique is excellent, and he's not a centre-half. And obviously, Emery's gone now, so Luiz isn't going to be put in midfield again, basically, which is where I think his best position
the only question mark to me is, who do you play as a centre backs? Holding will be in there for me, but who do you play alongside him? Yeah. Chambers, Socrates,
had a nightmare
Luiz.
It's got to be Chambers as the other centre back. He's obviously not a full back, is he?
He's not a full back.
He's a centre back.
His future lies in a central position, whether that be holding midfield, where he played.
Well, I suppose we've only got half a season to make this decision, because obviously next season we'll have William Saliba coming in.
He'll break his leg like in August. It'll be the whole season.
I love the positivity.
I want that to happen.
Glass half full Layth.
It's Glen's influence.
You heard it here first.
They're getting no protection though, are they? No. I was sat watching that. It's slightly different when you're at the game, but you could just see it. It was sort of like in just a matter of seconds. They were cutting through our midfield, out of their defence, straight through our midfield with one or two passes. Yeah. And the ball's in our box, and that happened time and time again.
I'm getting sick and tired of saying it. Just play Lucas Torreira, because he will just stand there left to right and just sweep up any problems.
I thought he would start yesterday.
Yeah. But also, going back to some stuff as well, I thought he did okay. But he didn't. He backed off far too much for the goal.
He was all over the place.
I think he showed a bit more.
He almost scored a couple of times with headers from the edge of the box.
Header cleared off the line.
It seemed like me and Layth were standing there watching it, going, "He seems to be having a free reign today. Just do what you want. Just run around, mate."
Shame he can't defend.
It's just Socrates or Mustafi. I mean,
what a choice, eh?
Yeah.
I mean,
do you know what? Yesterday might have been the best centre-half partnership in the history of the Premier League. David Luiz and Squadron Mustafi. Can you imagine?
One of the most expensive.
Well, one of the most error-prone.
Yeah, whether that's value for money, those different amounts.
So we've obviously got a run-up of games coming. How are these defenders going to set up over the next few games? We've got Brighton on Thursday.
Can I just read Daniel Farke going full Alan Partridge?
The last line of Norwich.
So there was a feature in the programme that caught my attention. So it's called Ask the Boss. So fans send in questions to Daniel Farke. I'll just read a few. What are the main differences between coaching here in England and Germany? And Daniel Farke says, you have to speak English instead of speaking German. Fair enough. It gets better. It gets better. And this is one that you'll enjoy.
Fair point.
In Germany, you always get a currywurst after the game, although I have to say, Delia delivers me an unbelievable currywurst as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love currywurst.
And then he was asked, Daniel, you talk about celebrating on the sofa with a coffee and cake after a win. So we're all dying to know, what is your favourite cake?
No, is that a real question?
Yeah, Daniel Farke says, I like each and every type of cake. If I had to choose, I'd go for a strawberry cake or cheesecake. So the best is probably strawberry cheesecake. And then he's another food-related question.
He'd be driving to Dundee in his bare feet next thing.
Well, another food-related question. He was asked, pineapple on pizza, yes or no? He says, yes, but not for me. I would go for
yes, but no. Then
I would go for salami, and I would never have pineapple on a pizza.
So he said yes for pineapple, and then said no.
Yeah, and just one final one. Who pulls for Parker better, you or Liam Gallagher? That's a good question. I'll go for Liam as he's a legend. He's definitely the better choice.
I love it. I love it. Seriously.
God, what a programme.
Honestly, I'm going to have to read it now.
I don't think I've seen Glen's face look so confused and just disgruntled.
Just a word on provincial football teams as well. We were looking at the advertising yesterday.
There was some... So around the Emirates, it's all very corporate, very...
Visit Rwanda.
They had Pip Skips.
Pip Skips behind the goal. Yeah,
it was behind the goal of Norwich. It was a bloke called Pip who was a skip company.
There's nothing else to it.
There was
unless there is.
There was an advert for
those sort of regional.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My favourite one was the GJL feeds for all your farming requirements.
Honestly,
that's very specific to the area.
That is Norwich niche.
We drove down the A11 and there was we went past about 4 pig farms, didn't we?
And Layth pointed out every single one of them.
I'm just fascinated by pig farms.
And one of the best ones I saw was about a portable toilet company called Putting the Pee in Toilets, in portable toilets. I thought it was very impressive.
And a word about that sort of screen that went
on as well, honestly. They got, if you've never been to Carrow Road, they've got the big Megatron sort of TV in the corner showing the highlights, the VAR goal check when it wants to, and then on the ball City and cheer. And at some points, the screen waves to different parts of the stadium so you can all read it. It's incredible.
Old Trafford and Anfield, salivating with them.
Yeah, exactly. Better than Old Trafford and Anfield. Also, we were watching completely mesmerised. It was like, where's it going?
It was unbelievable.
Another thing with this, I think we all noticed this, didn't we? Arsenal head coach Unai Emery.
Yeah. Production deadlines
they definitely gone to press.
You wouldn't see mistakes like that in the Gooner factory.
You said about the ads. Did they put any ads up during the VAR check?
Yes.
They did. Yeah. I heard earlier in the season there was some long VAR decision at Carrow Road, and during the decision-making process, they popped up a chance to win a meal for two with Tom Kerridge.
This time they had
Do you know what I mean? Tom Kerridge is a lovely bloke.
This week, this game during the VAR check, they advertised for a New Year's Eve party at a lounge club in Norwich.
They did, didn't they? Yeah.
I'm only going if Dealey is there.
And obviously, they also there was 2 adverts during the VAR check because there were 2 VAR checks. The other advert we had was for personalised licence plates with a Norwich FC badge on it.
I love the details.
Also, can we just explain to everyone watching? We keep looking over here.
The FA Cup
draw's on right as we're watching. Arsenal's ball number 2, in case
we're not
in the ball numbers.
Older shot in there or something. I don't even know.
Right,
we'll see if we're out first. Any luck?
Anyway, let's carry on.
Well, this might be a good time to go for our beer break, and we'll come back to you after the draw.
Yeah, okay.
Right, we're back for the beer break, and the talking point now is quite an important one, is what is the successor to Unai Emery? Dan, you've made several different Dan dossiers where you've gone through what I would say is probably most of the registered managers in playing in UEFA football. So who are you picking now?
Unai Emery. No, I'm joking.
Well, I've got a scarf for you if you want it.
I only did one at Seville.
Can you imagine? Yeah.
Who is the man for Dan?
Yeah.
Well, I said Luis Enrique way back when. He's obviously...
That was in dossier part 1.
Yeah. Well, he's obviously now back to being Spain boss, so he's off. He's not going to happen. So, I've gone with a bit of a left field option. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
All right. Explain your reasonings.
Well, a couple of reasons. So
apart from the fact he's a legend, but...
Well, I think we need someone who's an Arsenal man. Whether that be Freddie, someone else I know that you're going to discuss.
Yeah.
Van Bronckhorst ticks that box, obviously. He's got experience as a manager. He was manager of Feyenoord, I think, for 4 years. Won their first league title in 18 years and also won 4 separate cup trophies. So, he's been successful. Yes, it is the Dutch league, but, he's got that experience. The only issue would be he's now at Man City working in kind of a role under Pep Guardiola, but not actually on his staff. Mm-hmm. Might be difficult to prize him away, though he has said recently that he'd like to get back into management. Obviously, learning under Pep, it's not going to be a bad thing, is it?
No, it's always been very attractive, yeah.
So, he ticks a lot of the boxes for me. Bit of a left field shout, but,
Just in terms of Van Bronckhorst, we've sort of had a chat about this before, but... he obviously won the title a couple of years back for Feyenoord, didn't he? Mm-hmm. But he's out of work now. And why did he leave Feyenoord last May?
Well, we got the chance to go learn under Pep, which I don't think is an opportunity you can
So that was the reason he left Feyenoord, was it? Okay. Yeah. So he left...
to become an intern.
Basically, yeah. That's what
he's making Pep's tea, no.
So he left after guiding Feyenoord to the first title in, 18 years? Well,
that was the season before last.
So where did he go after that again?
It was at Feyenoord for one more season.
So he left. And where was it? He was sort of 4th or 5th that season?
Top 3, I think.
Okay, right. And then he decided to leave and go straight to Man City in a more sort of junior role.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've heard bit of a...
We've heard a few names. That's an interesting name.
Chuck another one in the ring. Why
not? Glen, who's your name for the hat?
George Graham.
Bruce Rioch?
Herbert Chapman.
Did you watch Have a Chat with Teams?
Of course he did. Look at him.
Yeah.
That's why he's so grumpy now. The heady heights of her chatting.
And his trousers were nothing like the statue outside the ground.
It's all downhill after that exchange.
No, well, same as we touched on this last week or the week before, I can't remember, but I would still like Arteta. It was a split decision with Emery. You know, he thought he had the job. Mm-hmm. I've read more subsequently about, I think David Ornstein wrote a piece about the board was split between Arteta and Emery. Mm-hmm. I think it just came down to Emery did a presentation, which I find hard to believe.
Yes, yeah.
But you know, clubman. I also think City are beginning to look transitional, like that side's wearing down.
Oh, well, Pep.
Well, yeah. But you know, they're going to start replacing players. Yeah. Guardiola said something interesting, that he's more concerned about his friendship with Arteta, and he wouldn't stand in his way.
Also, obviously, Pep's reaching his sort of 4-year mark where he seems to leave clubs after 3 years of success. So.
I think there is talk of him going to sign another contract at state of 2022. But you're right. I think they are almost
in a transitional period. So it'd be a good time for us to take him.
Whether or not they wait until the end of next season, I don't know. I mean, we were discussing in the beer break about all the odds coming in on Freddie now to stay there. It's 4-1. Joint favourite with Allegri.
The only concern, obviously, you mentioned that piece from David Ornstein where he was talking about, you know, Arteta thought he had the job and then Emery came into the frame. Yeah. Emery wasn't even on the original shortlist to replace Ozzy, which was weird. But, I mean, the only concern is, have Arsenal burnt their bridges there, considering he thought he had the job? And then there was such a big backtrack.
Yeah, that was the point.
I think with Arteta, I think he would take it if Arsenal offered it. Basically.
Again, it's a risk. I mean, my only misgivings about it would be I've got such a lot of respect, and I think there's certain contingent of Arsenal fans didn't really give him the credit. I mean, I've heard certain people saying, "Oh, you know, he's very average." You know, he was really instrumental in us getting into the Champions League one year. And I would hate to see him fail. It would really upset me.
Yeah. Freddie failed as well. Hopefully he won't. But I absolutely take your point on that. And to go, to say something else about Arteta, I actually interviewed him at London Colney one-on-one a couple of years back for a fans thing for the Gooner actually. And I didn't name dropping there.
Who were they?
But what struck me was he was a really intelligent guy. He spoke really well about the club. Spoke really well about the ethos of the club. He seemed like a real considered, intelligent, rational thinker. Really calm. He had a love of Arsenal. That was apparent in his real understated way.
Well, Glenn, you mentioned the other week that Sterling puts up a lot of his sort of success in his striking rate to Arteta's coaching.
And not just him. Again, I've heard other comments saying that a lot of the City players, think that their great game has come on bundles because of Arteta on the training.
So do you think that's going to be quite difficult to try to wrestle Arteta away from Man City if that's the case?
I think he'd like to bite at the managerial cherry, but we've also got to take into account a quite sort of volatile managerial times at the moment. He was also dearly loved at Everton. Mm-hmm. The way they're going, they're going to be looking for a new manager soon.
Eddie Howe, like our mate Dan sort of said it the other week. He goes, Eddie Howe needs to move to a bigger club now.
Yeah.
And I think Everton is a stepping stone potentially to go to a bigger club on the level of Arsenal in a few years' time. If Eddie Howe turns Everton down, you do have to wonder about Eddie Howe's sort of horizons basically because he needs to make a step up now. And if he does well for Everton, then who knows what could happen. But they've got some tough games. They've got obviously Liverpool and the Merseyside derby this week. They've got some other stuff. They've got us soon as well. Would the new man take the job? But I mean, that's by
another thing with Arteta is you mentioned about how Guardiola might potentially be coming to the end of a cycle at Manchester City. Would Arteta not possibly view it as he'd be the first in line to take over?
Possibly.
At
Man City, do you not think he'd maybe been groomed for that role in a way? Possibly.
Potentially, but
do you not think that'd be in the back of his mind?
To be brutally honest, he's not a big name, and the Man City owners are probably looking for a big name. Certainly, if Pep Guardiola fails in the Champions League again this season.
I mean, Man City have had a series of big names in the managerial list before Guardiola, so I think they'll want to continue that.
What, Mark Hughes?
Joe Royle.
Our board, in all seriousness, the board at Arsenal must be really seriously worried about getting this decision right.
Well, they need to be. You're right.
They've got to gamble on round 2 because obviously the first time they did it, they made some errors, didn't they?
I think they may procrastinate a bit.
I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that per se because give Freddie a few games. We've also got Brighton on Thursday. Then we've got West Ham on the Monday. Give him at least those 2 games.
I'll do one more. I did say.
We're talking about points, weren't we? We've got 2 out of 6 so far.
When we first started this podcast, I was going on. I said this last week. The false position of third. I said, we keep playing like we do under Emery. I said, he's not got any direction or shape or any kind of perceivable plan. And that the board will start looking at him around Christmas and see how far off the top 4 we are.
Yeah, it literally is Mystic Glen.
Can I just say, I wrote about this on the day that Emery got sacked, and you're completely right that this is the biggest decision that they've had to make in a very, very long time. Yeah. If they don't get this right, they're going to end up like Man United in terms of spiraling down. And you mentioned, you say that they're going to, take the time with it, but I think they should.
Yeah.
This might sound a bit harsh, but I think this season, in a way, bar the Europa League, might almost be a bit of a write-off. Mm-hmm. And I think, be a bit patient.
I never want to make an acknowledgement that this season's a write-off, but it certainly feels like it's going that way.
That's why
I'd rather them say, this season, we're not going to get into the Champions League. We might not get into the Europa League. But I'd rather have. We said 100% that they would. I agree. But I'd much rather have a bit of time and maybe not achieve things this season to have success long term.
I know what you're saying, but I don't think you can write off anything. So if Freddie does well, let's go for it. Basically.
Of course, of course.
That's why I'm saying stick with Freddie till the end of the season. Yeah. I think they need to take their time with this and be really considered. What harm is it going to do for the season to have Freddie in charge till the end? Yeah,
certainly for me, stick with Freddie until January, and then we'll take it from there.
You couldn't have foreseen the teams that are now competing.
Yes.
Wolves are shut up there now.
Yeah.
Sheffield United, no one would have seen that.
No. Chris Wilder's done
Leicester look better now than they did when they won the league.
What do you think about Santo? He's gone off the ball a bit in terms of an Arsenal sort of candidate to be manager.
I don't think he wants the job. I think he's happy with Wolves and he wants to do that project. The same thing about other managers like Brendan Rodgers wants to do a project.
But also I think the Arsenal board don't see him as a candidate who's big enough. Basically.
Well, not to discredit him in any way, but I think it'd be a kind of similar. It'd be a similar appointment to Emery in a way that they view it as a safe pair of hands.
I mean, I've been in presses with him, and he is far more articulate in English than
of course.
But I think the board are considering they want a big name.
But I don't think he'd want to leave Wolves to disrupt his project.
There's that line from Rowe, isn't it, when Arsenal comes knocking, it's a big knock.
Yeah.
I don't want to say, we're a big club, so we're entitled to this, that, and the other. But I do think if you're Wolves manager and the Arsenal come for you, you're not going to.
Well, I don't think Bielsa would
whether we go for them or not.
We're a bit of a mess. Like the argument I keep getting from other people is, and I said it as well. At the moment, why would Nuno or Rodgers come to Arsenal?
Rodgers is a different matter, but for Nuno,
they're both involved in two good setups at the moment. Both those clubs are flying.
Yeah, but Santo would come to Arsenal if he asked him. Rodgers.
Would he come in the middle of a season though, when he's already flying?
If Arsenal offered him the job, he would go there tomorrow. Arsenal aren't going to offer him the job because they don't see him as a big enough name.
Who do you want, Layth?
Who do I want?
Yeah.
I'd have Freddie till January, see how he does. If he's showing progress and promise, not even results, if there's progress and promise there in terms of the way we play, the way we're set up, maybe a bit of defensive nous as well, hopefully.
Well, he said he's going to work on it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll like everyone was saying we were saying yesterday coming back from Norwich, it's like social media is really harsh and it's instinctive and people just say what they want to say. Yeah. He had one training session. He actually referenced the fact that. No, he didn't. It was Friday. It was sort of Friday lunchtime.
It was after all the stuff happened in the morning. Yeah. He took a session in the afternoon, but it's a disruptive session.
One training session for an Arsenal legend who knows the ethos of the club, who I've seen do really well for the under-23s last season. That's not enough, basically. So I'd give him till January.
Well, he's not even set his backroom team either.
No, exactly.
So he was asked about that, and he said, I don't know what's going to happen.
Good to see your man on the bench as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly,
and obviously at the Norwich game, he was loving the fans repartee with him singing.
Can he fit into the dugout?
Just about.
Well, there's a bit of talk of Robert Pires coming back, and I've heard mumblings that he was at Carrow Road on Sunday.
Well, he's in and around the training ground.
Well, he knows how it works. Obviously, Gilberto Silva's another name who's in the mix for the backroom team. I think just bring the Invincibles back.
Bring them all back. Why not?
Get the 98 Cup winning double squad back. Get the Invincibles back, and just have a 10-man coaching team.
Get Stuart Taylor back, go on.
He's no the ethos of the club.
Playing in defence.
Very, very true.
Go on then, who's yours?
Well, mine was to stick with Freddie.
Stick with Freddie as well.
Stick with Freddie till the end of the season.
So we've got stick with Freddie till January.
Yeah.
Arteta, Giovanni Van
Bronckhorst. Can I ask about Brendan Rodgers? Because he's a bit of a Marmite figure for me. I think
he's a good manager. I think he's undeniably capable. And I don't think he wants to leave the project that he started at Leicester.
For me with Rodgers, I think he has been slightly disingenuous because What else can he say at the moment? He can't say, "Oh, I want to go to Arsenal. They're a massive club. I'm doing a project at Leicester, but they're far bigger and I've got a point to prove to Liverpool and I want to be back in a sort of, in the top echelons of English football, although admittedly Leicester are in that position now. But if you're looking at long-term potential, Arsenal, when Arsenal come calling, you're not going to say no, basically. So I think he wouldn't necessarily turn us down. He's saying all the right things that Leicester fans need to hear, basically.
Well, how many times have we heard someone say, I'd never play for them, or I'm not going to leave?
Well, it's just football. You're going to say that.
Exactly. You say what people want to hear.
I'm
sceptical. I don't know if I want him. That's the thing.
I'm sceptical at seeing him here, but I think he's a great manager. I just don't think he would want to.
Well, they looked at him after Arsene Wenger left, didn't they? It was one of the names on the list.
Yeah, but I still remember that big Liverpool documentary, and he was completely David Brent for me. And I don't know.
We love David Brent.
But not as Arsenal man.
Well, Brendan Rodgers only just sold his flat to Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool.
Well,
he still kicked his house there. So
I've got a friend who fitted the lights in his snooker room.
Everyone's got a story.
Well, the back door was open and he went in. I shouldn't be saying this. And
you're going to expand on that.
Please do.
He bumped into his wife and he thought it was a cleaner.
And then what happened?
He divorced her. No. Well, he put the lights up and stuff. I don't want to get too.
Did he meet Brendan Rodgers?
Yeah, he did.
What did he say about him?
He said he was okay.
Well, he strikes me as a nice man.
He did comment on the sort of self-portraits and stuff.
Yeah, I've heard he had a picture of himself in the wall.
Was he? You know, when people play Football Manager. You know, when people play Football Manager and they sit in the bathroom practicing press conferences. Is that what Brendan was doing?
Well, quickly moving away from everything libelous. One of the managers that you tipped up a while ago was Joe Montemurro, and on Sunday we saw the headline come through that Arsenal women were winning 11-1.
Yeah.
Wow.
With
do you know what?
Miedemar getting 6 goals and 4 assists.
Yeah.
She was involved in Bristol City.
Can I just say, knowing Joe Montemurro here would have been very, very upset that they conceded.
Yeah.
But I mean, to win 11-1, and they've beaten them 7-0 a few weeks back. 2 games, 18 goals.
Yeah, Oxby, the manager at Oxby, she wasn't very happy, was she, at all?
Well, would you be if you conceded 11 times?
So
Uno would be.
Is Montemurro a name we should be suggesting or not?
Possibly.
No. I mean, do you think he's...
Why not?
At the level capable of running the men's team, or do you think he has to stick with the women's team and we have to get a different name in? Do you think they're transferable skills? I mean, obviously the women's team are an unbelievable shape of form.
I don't know much. What's his pedigree? What's his prop?
So it basically he's Australian. He didn't have much of a.
He's actually really
didn't have much of a playing career at the top level.
Melbourne City. Or
he's managed a few times in Australia. He's also managed in Papua New Guinea, which was a bit of a weird one. And then obviously came to Arsenal's attention through his work in Australia. Was appointed. Done really well, won the league title obviously, turned them into a top side. I don't understand this whole kind of divide on he manages the women, he can't manage the men. Why not? Football's football. Doesn't matter who's playing it.
Yeah, completely agree. I think if it gets to the point when you get to January and Freddie's not doing particularly well and there's no one on the horizon, you're going to point someone long term just for the sake of it. You could do worse than look at Joe Montemurro if Freddie's not delivering. I hope to God Freddie will deliver, and I'm sure he will. Yeah. But if it gets to sort of mid-January, we've lost every game, and there's no one else on the horizon. Why couldn't Joe take over?
Well, there's half glass full Layth again.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Well, he's a charismatic guy, isn't he? We've seen that firsthand. He's
he knows the club inside out,
exactly. He's an Arsenal fan.
So the general consensus is we don't know who it could be. It could be anyone. We don't know if it could be now, January, or the end of the season.
Basically, yeah.
You nailed it.
You heard it first.
All right. Well, let's talk about something we can probably get a little bit more explanation on. Brighton on Thursday, 8:15. The first game on Amazon Prime. For the Arsenal.
Why 8:15?
So
why
you
not
can
just
watch
8 o'clock, 7:45?
So you can watch the first half of another game that's on that night, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the way
Is that right? Is that
why they're doing it?
I think on Wednesday United are playing Spurs.
Yeah.
There's 7:30 kickoffs.
And then Liverpool Everton's 8:15.
Yeah.
Okay, so So it's an early game on Thursday.
Why would you watch half of the game?
No, on Thursday.
Well, I mean, most Arsenal fans only watched half the Frankfurt game, then left. So.
Why don't
they're just maximising,
maximising revenue.
Yeah.
But we'll be there at the game.
Yeah, we'll be there.
So what's Freddie going to learn from the performance at Norwich? What changes do you reckon he'll make to try and improve our performance?
Mustafi will be out there for me. We won't be in the team.
Right. Just in terms of Brighton, I mean, I remember going to the game at Boxing Day down at Brighton. Or was it the 27th? No, I think it was Boxing Day.
Yeah, it was.
And that was 1-1. That was a really bad performance. That was one of the sort of flags that got issued when Emery was still there. And you think, what's going on here? Because it was a dreadful performance second half.
And then we draw with them at home. Yeah,
we drew. I think it was a 4th of May or something, and that cost us a Champions League spot basically.
Penalty, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Brighton, no much.
Did you see him against Liverpool?
Yeah, they were lucky, weren't they?
Played too bad. I hope Lino just concentrates on free kicks. Do you see Dunk's one?
Yeah. Well, we did say during the game it must be so nice for Leno to not actually have to just roll it out, and he actually boot it as far as he wanted. He's probably going to spend the next two days training just kicking the ball as far as he can.
He's been doing it in his garden. He's just been kicking it over the fence over and over again. But the one thing I am looking forward to is the atmosphere at the Emirates. I think it's going to be. It's going to be
off the chain.
I hope so.
I think everyone's going to be really up for it. The atmosphere was good at Norwich. I think the atmosphere at the Emirates, people.
The away fans are always class.
Yeah,
every time. Yeah.
I think the seats will be full this week. I think everyone will be really fascinated to see it.
Yeah. Frankfurt fans are still in club level.
Yeah. Honestly, we talked about we did a couple obviously match reaction after Frankfurt on Thursday, and we could hear all the Frankfurt fans outside.
Constantly,
And we were saying what an away trip that would be. You get into a ground where you're not supposed to get into, great. You're in club level, so apparently it's free booze the whole time. Great, and there's about 1,500 of them basically.
I know, I could hear them. I thought they weren't going to let any travelling fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think club level's different.
They said they would confiscate any season
It's
ticket holder.
isn't it? It's always the way.
It's on club level, then. This is done by company, so
right.
God knows.
They weren't in a hurry to eject them.
No, they weren't in a hurry to leave.
There were some fans that were walking around the ground when I arrived.
One rule for one.
There was one of the Frankfurt fans saying to the steward, "How much do I have to pay to get in? 150, 200." Like,
was he drunk?
No.
Was it like cologne?
Well,
I'm not surprised they got in.
We did see the one only ever reason to wear a half and half scarf is when you're banned from a stadium, putting it on so you can pretend you're a fan, but only so you're half of the scarf.
So basically, that's how we get into standard Liège club level. Half and half scarf, and we'll wing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Are you going to Liège?
Yeah. Of course we are. Trip to Liège with driving as well.
Right. Well, if
you're over there, we'll see you over there.
It's come to that point of the podcast.
Oh, Glenn's notes.
No, I said something about Frankfurt. Yeah.
Well, we got your notes, Glen.
Hang on, there's some written and some typed.
I know. I only had half our lunch this morning. So I started typing. It was all the stuff we discussed. What did I have for lunch today? Really?
Yeah, go on.
I had a jacket potato.
What was the filling?
The filling I made myself was ham, turkey, and grated cheese with a hint of mayonnaise to bind it together.
Hang on. Define a hint of mayonnaise. How much is a good teaspoon?
You mean there was nothing left in the fridge?
Probably just one dessert spoon.
Oh, dessert spoon.
Yeah.
You can see he's got the silverware out. Dessert spoons, tablespoons, teaspoons.
Unlike Potts, who we never mentioned.
Hey. So go on in, Glen. What's the notes today?
Nothing major. He just
Apart
asked
from
me
4 pages.
Right, yeah, I've got to say, yesterday, there's some... this is the only time I really wish we could swear on this podcast. But there's a person in my block, all right? My flat is adjacent to the car park. Okay, so all day long there's delivery vans coming in. One person in that block gets his Ocado delivery every week without fail at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
6 a.m.
What an animal.
We've had running battles. I found out who it was, and I've been putting postcards through his door and stuff.
Is that all you've been putting through his door?
Yeah. I put one through his door yesterday. I said, "Do you really need your cabbage and that at 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning or whatever?"
How's he going to respond,
when I get home, there's going to be some response.
Do you have it handwritten, or is it cut out from a magazine?
Yeah, it's sort of like different cut and paste from newspapers.
Your cabbages are mine now.
Do you need your hint of mayonnaise at 6 a.m?
We live in a society where no one gives a toss, do they?
No.
It's so annoying. Really, is it that essential? I've got to have my groceries delivered at 6 o'clock. I always wake up and that's it. I can't get back to sleep. That's why I always save Match of the Day on Sunday morning instead of Saturday.
Match of the Day, 7:30.
Talking of Match of the Day, well, I'm good at segueing.
You are.
Oh, that was beautiful.
I'm getting a bit cheesed off about commentators pre-prepared little lines that they get into the commentary as soon as they have a chance.
Go on.
There was one in the Liverpool-Brighton game, and the commentator, I've forgotten his name, But he just went, and Liverpool Surge and Brighton Rock. It was like, you know.
You wouldn't hear Johnny Phillips doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's only one Johnny Phillips.
That's a good line, though.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
It's a good headline.
Christmas trees that go up in November, that annoys me.
Do you know what? That is something I'm actually going to agree with Glen on for once.
Yeah. Christmas starts in December.
Yes. The 1st of December, get your tree up, that's fine. Anything before that, no.
I don't want to upset him because he might come on this podcast next. But Gary Lineker's little punning sort of sign-offs at the end. You know, that little...
Oh, it was terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he said, chim, chimney, chim, 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 shiroo. Liverpool have won and Van Dijk got 2. And that sheepish, sickly little...
No, he pulled that face of like, I didn't write this line.
Yeah, I know.
The producers have done me over.
I'll give him his due. They're all scripted for him, I suppose.
You'll be happy to know there's no scripting on this podcast, plainly.
What's that you got there?
That's a series of notes I could barely read.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, one last one.
Go on.
Did my head in. I went into town Friday to see a film and have a bit of a cultural day. Black Friday.
Oh, it's a nightmare, isn't it?
Hang on, you went to the cinema for a cultural day.
Well, no,
most people are going to like English heritage sites or like movie.
I went to the Royal Academy the week before and I moaned about that. People taking selfies and kids climbing over the exhibits.
No, that I agree with. That's annoying. But Black Friday's nonsense.
It is a nonsense.
Utter nonsense.
And it just brings out the worst in humanity. And it's just a lot, this... I don't know, acquisitive, sort of grabbing, if I buy something, it'll make my life better.
Well, there was a story about some bloke who went and queued up at 3:30 a.m. to be first in line for Black Friday. I don't know what he bought.
Was it Unai Emery trying to buy a new defender?
Yeah.
No, that was him at the job centre.
That's it. Black Friday, yeah.
So you didn't buy TV screen then?
I was going to say, we haven't beaten the bottom 3. Have we? Southampton,
no. We've barely beaten anyone.
Norwich and Watford, yeah.
Watford are languishing at the bottom of the table.
We've drawn 2-2 with all 3 of them.
Watford are down the bottom now, aren't they? Yeah. 6 points adrift. So Harry the Hornet will be plying his mascotorial duties in the Championship.
Do you know what? You mentioned mascots. You mentioned mascot. This was another thing. Let me just find it. 2 seconds.
All right.
I'll get there in the end.
We've got shut at 8.
It's a rather hefty programme. Oh, there's Dennis Bergkamp. Okay, so... Right, someone just fill me in. That's number Wang.
That's number Wang.
I'll get there.
So I'll fast forward it.
Yeah. Oh, I found it. So a Norwich fan was asked who he'd have round for dinner. So you can name 6 people. So he says Alex Tete, Tim Closer, Russell Martin,
Bernard Matthews,
Darren Huckabee, Stephen Fry, and Splat the Cat.
Okay.
Who's Splat the Cat?
I don't know.
That sounds like some deviant sexual actor.
So the fact considering ex-mascot Splat the Cat now only pops up props up the bar at breakfast time in Norwich's main chain pubs.
Splat the Cat sounds like Layth's driving technique.
He's no Gunnosaurus.
Right, West Ham next Monday, so we won't be doing this.
No, we'll be driving to.
We'll be driving to Liège. We'll be filming it probably. We'll be doing it from the car on the. We're doing the next podcast will be in a car on the way to Brussels.
Yeah, pod in the car rather than pod in the pub.
And we also know our next Prime Minister.
Well,
that's the day of the game, isn't it?
That's the day of the game.
Yeah.
So don't forget, we'll be doing our postal votes.
It'll be even more depressing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's not go there.
Unai's in the running, late contender. He's going to go to the Queen with a presentation. This is why I should be.
On that note, let's end the podcast there. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out all our previous videos. We've got the match reactions. We've got the straight for the press box. We've got the shadows of whatever stadium we're at. And of course, we've got mine and Dan's weekly comments videos, so make sure you comment, and you never know.
But it's cold, isn't it?
Leave me alone.
We could respond to any of your comments, so leave them for us, and we'll hopefully get you in there.
Just don't slag us off. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.